the talk for today is basically low sexual desire and lifestyle issues. Now, before we begin, tell me, why are you here? Do you want to come forward?
How can I do this? Well, I would like a fresh perspective on how lifestyle issues can impact your sex life. Sex life is an important facet of your life as such.
Right.
So if lifestyle issues can impact, I'd like to know as to how best can I modify my lifestyle issues to achieve that.
Okay, very good. Why are you here, sir?
I'm here for knowledge purpose, pass on that knowledge to younger generation.
Okay. What about you, sir?
The same purpose, knowledge purpose.
Sir?
Knowledge purpose.
Okay, fine. See, this is going to be more of an interactive session rather than me just talking about it. I would want it to be more of an interactive session. Now, what is your personal opinion about consuming alcohol and its relationship with low sexual desire? Who would like to comment?
Can you repeat your question?
Yeah, my question is, how would you relate intake of alcohol with low sexual desire? Or what is your understanding about alcohol and sexual desire?
It's totally wrong.
It doesn't improve actually.
It is not good for health at all.
Okay, so you mean alcohol consumption doesn't go with a good sexual desire?
No.
Okay, what about you?
Well, sir, it would be a function of age. A youngster who has alcohol, he will lose his inhibitions of decency or whatever, and may take alcohol for stimulation, mental stimulation.
Okay, but this is something which I really want to discuss. Why do we need alcohol to lose our inhibitions? Aren't we smart enough, or aren't we good enough that we don't need alcohol? Why can't we simply have a good communication with our partner? Do we actually need alcohol to shed our inhibitions?
No, we don't.
Actually, it's not required, right? So let us understand one thing, that alcohol, we don't need alcohol to, lose our inhibitions. I can talk about anything I want. If I have good sexual communication skills, why do I need alcohol?
Instead of taking alcohol, why not to hug the partner? That is better.
Yeah, anything else. Okay, so now coming to the topic, the first topic what we will be discussing today is low sexual desire, and in terms of lifestyle, first would be alcohol dependency. So now let's see how somebody who is addicted to alcohol can suffer from a diminished sexual desire and what they can do about it. And there are several other things which we'll take into account. The first one is alcohol dependency. See, taking one drink per day is fine. Taking more than one drink per day is not fine. As simple as that. Okay? So you can consume one drink per day, but if you take more than one, then you are inviting trouble for yourself. So this is something which you need to keep in mind. But as a doctor, I personally believe that we don't need alcohol. Our body does not need alcohol. There are so many other beneficial things which we can put into our bodies. We really don't need alcohol. Okay. Now, why
how do you say, I mean, by one drink is fine?
See, I'll tell you something, because what happens,
is
like
it in our mind we are justifying keeping one drink is fine?
No, this is for people who cannot control at all.
Control.
I'm talking only about people who will say no matter what we need to drink some alcohol. So for those people, I would say, okay, one drink is just fine. Because what happens, like if you take one drink, you will lose a little bit of your inhibitions, and the liver also metabolizes the alcohol pretty soon if you are just taking one drink. But more than one drink, you are in for trouble, right? Because your concentration ability will be lost, your thinking skills will be lost, your concentration will be lost, your arousal will be lost. So those things are not helping in any way, right? So the least, and I would say the least amount which you can consume would be just one drink per day, right? Now, why do you think people consider alcohol to be an aphrodisiac? Aphrodisiac is something which stimulates the sexual desire. Now, why do people have this thinking? Where has this thinking come
what
from?
thinking they have? Could you repeat that?
People think that alcohol is an aphrodisiac, right? Aphrodisiac is something which stimulates your sexual desire. Now, how come people have started thinking like that?
After drinking, you get some kick, maybe because of that.
See, it's actually a myth that alcohol is an aphrodisiac. Actually, it's not. It's actually in small quantities. It is a stimulant, but if you take it in a more quantity, it becomes a depressant. Depressant is something which will depress your nervous system. So it's always better that you are aware of this fact as a stimulant and also as a depressant. So it's basically not an aphrodisiac at all. Okay. Now, coming to your question once again, like what would happen if you take one drink? If you take one drink, you would have an increased amount of dopamine in your mind. Dopamine is a transmitter, it's a neurotransmitter which would create a lot of positive feelings in your mind. But if you take more than one drink, what is happening is you are releasing a lot of serotonin. Serotonin is also a neurotransmitter which would actually...
The hormones?
Serotonin. First is dopamine, the second is serotonin, which actually impairs your sexual desire and your sexuality. And how would it affect? It would affect your sexual arousal levels in men and women. Once your serotonin levels go up, then it will affect your sexual desires in men and women.
So it's made it will depress,
Yes.
reduce.
Yes. So basically what we are trying to achieve, we are not able to achieve. Okay. Now, how else would alcohol affect you? It says that overuse interferes with production of testosterone. Right? Testosterone production will go down. How it would go down? Because the testicles and the adrenal glands would stop functioning. Or if not stop functioning, it will reduce its functioning and production would go down. And another thing which is very, very important, which you need to understand is more of testosterone turns to estrogen. Estrogen is a female hormone. So there will be less and less of sexual desire. Right? So probably what we are trying to achieve, it is creating just the
So is presence of estrogen. Estrogen.
It's a female hormone.
Estrogen.
Yes.
This
So
one
that will
dextrose, testosterone, dextrose.
estrogen.
Yeah,
ESTROGEN.
that I read before dextrose.
Testosterone.
Testosterone.
Testosterone. That's the main
So
section.
does it imply that more of estrogen means reduced sexual desire?
Yes, because it's a female hormone. Now also, when you take a lot of alcohol, what is happening is that you are damaging your liver, right? And when you are damaging your liver, more estrogen is being produced. So the more estrogen which is being produced, it is further diminishing your sexual desire. So that is how you would relate to these things.
So, since it's a female hormone, so does it mean that presence of estrogen in females would imply less of sexual desire in them?
No. See, basically what happens, we males, we have sexual desire because of testosterone and DHEA. Those two hormones are meant for the male body. Estrogen is meant for the female body, which has a lot of other functions also, like lactation, menstruation and things like that. So those are basically female hormones. It doesn't help anything with sexual desire. So once that is converted to estrogen, your desire is automatically going down.
So
We don't want more of estrogen.
For a female also to have sexual desire, would it mean that she must also have more of testosterone?
No.
Right.
Females do have levels of testosterone, but they don't have specifically sex hormones in their body as such. The hormones which they have are more for pregnancy, lactation and menstruation. They don't have sex hormones specifically the way males have, like testosterone. They don't have.
So what is it that stimulates their desire?
No, it would be a combination of, the senses, a combination of all these functions, of all these hormones, but no separate hormone like testosterone. It will be basically women are more stimulated by the sense of touch. They are more stimulated by the sense of the man loving them. Right? A person is very caring, they are more stimulated by those things. And also in general how you interact with her on a daily basis. So those are the things which really turn on a woman. less than the hormones. Okay. Now again, coming to the last point of this, as I said, one drink for men was fine. Now I also have one more information. One drink for women and two drink for men at the most. Like when we say, drink in moderation. We use this word, drink in moderation. So how do you define the word moderation? Moderation will be two drinks for a man and one drink for a woman. Now, why would you say one for a woman and two for a man? Because a man has a different body stature and his liver is able to metabolize alcohol much easily than the woman's body. So that's why we are allowing a man two drinks, and a man and a woman one drink. So far so good. Any questions?
This mentioned drink means any measurement.
Sorry?
You tell two drinks on any measurement.
Yeah, 30 ml, not 10.
No, what's the question? I couldn't get you.
No, that
Measure of a drink. How much
measure.
is one drink?
One drink means how you define how much.
Okay,
Quantity.
you mean the quantity. See, sometimes they say that 12 ounces of beer is equivalent to one drink. So that way, because we have different labels like that. So one drink would be something which should have very little amount of alcohol. And again, the different things like whiskey and vodka and all those have high content of alcohol. So try to avoid those things at all. The best thing, if you want to really drink, you should drink wine. Wine actually acts as an aphrodisiac, but that too in small
Wine.
quantities. If you have to drink, there is not a necessity of doing that. On the contrary, like if you are really looking at an aphrodisiac, you should go for something known as like strawberry juice or go for pineapple juice. These are actually good for your sexual system rather than these stimulants. They really don't help. Okay. Now the second factor which is very important when we talk about like lifestyle issues, the second is a poor body image. Now before we begin with poor body image, who will tell me what is a body image? Or what do you actually, how do you define or what do you understand by a body image?
Body should be a healthy body, You can make a healthy body through exercise, food, habits.
Okay, but what do you mean by a body image?
What do you think about yourself? How comfortable you think about yourself? Your inner personality.
See, basically when we talk about body image is something you stand opposite a mirror and you look at your whole body, right? In a clothed way or also in a naked form. And you see how you find yourself desirable. If I am comfortable with myself of what I see in the mirror, then I have a positive body image. If I don't like what I see in the mirror, then you have a negative body image. Now, if you have a good positive body image, then there is no problem. But if you have a negative or a poor body image, then that is going to interfere in your sex life. Now, how is it going to interfere? First of all, you don't like yourself in the mirror, right? So you assume that just because I don't like myself in the mirror, my partner is not going to like me in the mirror. So many women have these body image problems, like when they go to the bedroom and if they are very thick or like if there is a lot of fat on their hips, then they would think that my husband would find me very unappealing. And that is one of the reasons why so many women they avoid sex or they avoid to undress while having sex because they have a poor body image. And this is not discussed and the husband is not aware of why. The husband may not have any problems with her body, but she may be having problems with herself. So she would probably need to go to a counselor who would advise her some form of exercise. Or wear certain kind of clothes to highlight her sexual anatomy. Okay. Now what would happen? Like if you have a poor body image, your sexual fulfillment would be completely impaired. You don't like yourself, you assume that your partner does not like you. So what is happening is that you don't feel like having sex with your partner. So your desire is getting diminished. You're not even initiating sex. Okay. Now what is causing this body image problem? Can you guess why do we have these problems? So how do they originate?
How to is originated?
Yes.
It's in the mind.
He has some
But how?
inferiority,
From where?
inferiority, seeing
No, there
any
is-
negative, you create some inferiority complex.
Okay, can you guess?
Your own self-esteem, how you think about yourself, comfortable with yourself.
Okay, now tell me
Or
something.
not perhaps, build a Tarzan image for yourself. If you have a very high opinion about yourself, and you come and see yourself in the mirror, if the two are not in sync, then you have a problem.
See, what used to happen earlier, people did not even know what is a poor body image and a good body image. See, I'll give you a small example. Like, till the 1990s, when bodybuilding was not in fashion, till 1990s, the heroes of our screen were not into bodybuilding at all. Then Sanjay Dutt came and he started this whole trend of bodybuilding. And later on, when men started comparing themselves with Sanjay Dutt's body, they felt that they had a poor body image. When women start comparing themselves with Miss Universe and Miss World, they feel that they are very inferior to them. So what has happened? It's the media and it's the magazines which has created this fear in the minds of people that somehow if you don't look like that model, or if you don't have a body like Sanjay Dutt, you are no good. And then there'll be this whole list of advertisements which will say that you can take this supplement, or you can go to so and so clinic and you can really trim down and have that hourglass figure and all. So it's basically media created by the so-called the film industry. So we are looking at those things. We are not looking at people around us. People around us are very common people. They are slightly fat. They may not be very thin like a model. But if you look at women on the screen, they are always beautiful. They always have a certain vital statistics. Men always have a huge build. Like nobody's thin. Like before 90s, if you look at the actors, they were not bothered about their physique at all. Neither much of the heroines. But after 90s, that whole trend has changed. So people have become more aware and they've started disliking themselves. Now what do you do about this? The only way out is to start exercising. Is to start exercising, whether you're a man or a woman. And what if you're overweight? Overweight, I would understand that it is definitely a health problem, and one should do everything necessary to get rid of overweightedness. So, how will losing weight have a connection with sexual desire? Think for a minute.
Losing weight will improve body image.
Calories of energy you can get.
See, basically what happens, when you lose weight, the estrogen and the testosterone level balance is recreated. Right? So that balance is recreated and the sexual desire again, comes down to normal. It will also improve your performance, and it will also, give you more sexual satisfaction. It is really, really very disgusting when you have a partner, opposite you, who is very fat. The whole act of love making becomes very difficult. Just imagine if your partner is very fat. You think so you would enjoy sex having with her, but the man is very fat, right? So it would become very, very difficult. You cannot even try certain sexual positions, right? It become more a strenuous activity than an activity of pleasure. So we need to be very, clear about your body image and how you can change it. The very first sign would be the moment you start becoming overweight, you have to hit the gym, begin some form of exercise, and make sure that you have your ideal body weight. That is the first thing you need to do. Okay, any questions about this part of body image? Mind well, these are all lifestyle issues, which most of the doctors, they will not tell you. You go to a sexologist, they'll give you some medications, they'll say, okay, fine, you are done. But these things have to be taken care of, along with medication if required, otherwise it will not work. Okay, now we go on to the next segment of a lifestyle issue, which is sleep deprivation. Depriving yourself of your sleep. Now, why do we need sleep in the first place?
For energy, you get energy when you sleep, and when you get up next day, you feel relaxed.
Okay, any other guesses? Why do we need sleep?
For blood circulation will be in any form.
No, see, basically we need sleep to repair our body. The brain cells and the cells of the body need some kind of repair, and that can only happen when you are asleep. You cannot be working and expect your brain and your body to repair their cells. So you will need, and every individual will need different amounts of sleep. The ideal number of hours would be ideally between 6 to 8 hours. Very, very small children would need about 18 hours of sleep. The moment they are born, they need lots of sleep. And again, like people who are old, once you are beyond 50, 60, 70, then your sleeping hours also reduces. There is nothing wrong in it. There is nothing wrong in it. People get very terrified that, oh my God, I used to sleep for 6 hours, now I can sleep only for 5 hours. But so long as those 5 hours refresh you in the morning, it is absolutely fine. The problem is that even after sleeping for 6-7 hours, if you still feel groggy, something is wrong. You should feel very fresh after you get up in the morning. Right? That is the idea. Now what would happen? Less sleep would cause a diminish in the desire. Now this is something very, it is very simple. I don't even need to explain to you. Like, suppose you've not slept the whole night and your partner in the morning urges you to have sex. Would you even feel like having sex? Definitely not. Because you're so cheesed off with the whole thing, right? So that is one thing, it actually kills desire. And now, how? How is that happening? Because if you have less sleep, you're very worried and it gives you depression. And depression is something which will cause the diminishing of the desire. So that is how it works. Now, coming to a very different situation. If you take drugs, like it could be ganja, it could be marijuana, or any kind of drugs, it will disturb your sleep pattern. They will never show you these things in any film or anything, but in reality what happens when you start taking drugs, your brain chemistry gets altered. Your brain tissue starts getting damaged. So what happens is normally when you go off to bed at 12 in the night, or if you go to bed at 11 and get up in the morning, that whole schedule will be disturbed. Sometimes you will not be able to sleep for the whole night and you will get sleep only in the morning. So you are sleeping at morning 6 o'clock and getting up in the afternoon at 1 o'clock. So just imagine your whole day gets topsy-turvy when you take these drugs. So if you are not able to sleep, what should you do? Start taking sleeping pills? No. You can start taking some form of exercise. But that exercise should be done 3 hours prior to your sleeping time. That is very important. If you want to sleep at 10, you cannot exercise at 9 o'clock and then go off to sleep. You will have to finish your exercises by 7 o'clock so that you have 3 hours of rest and then you can go off to sleep. So, like people take sleeping pills and things like that, it is not really required. You exercise, you take a warm bath, or probably you just read a book if you think that you are not able to get a sleep. Or sometimes what happens, like if your mind is very, very worried, so the best thing you can do is keep a letter pad with you. And the moment you feel that, okay, this is the worry which is causing me, just transfer that worry on paper. And the moment you start yawning, go off to sleep. Even if you get up again get up, again keep the pad beside you. And try to transfer your worries on paper. Most of the people, so many of them, they are not able to sleep because they are worried about something. Right? And even if you can think of some solution then and there, like this is a worry. For example, I'm worried about, let's say, what is going to happen to my career, suppose. So you might as well write down the worry and just write down 1 or 2 solutions of what you can do. You don't have to do it then and there, but just write down a solution and keep that pad beside you and go off to sleep. That is the best thing you can do. So this is how the sleep deprivation is related to diminished sexual desire. You need to have proper sleep to have a good sexual desire. Right? Any questions about this segment?
Sleep plus meditation also.
Meditation would be for mental relaxation. But meditation as such is a very, very good exercise for entire body. Okay. Now we go on to something which is known as overwork syndrome. You are overworking. Fine. Now what will overwork lead to?
Stress.
Yes. Overwork leads to stress.
Due to, and after that you are not getting proper sleeping also.
Yes. These, these lifestyle issues I'll sum it up at the end of how this would work in totality. Now, if you have job-related stress, what can you do about it? Job-related stress, what will happen? It will lower your production of sex hormones, stress. It will create more of stress hormones. So that balance is disturbed and you're not able to, get good sexual arousal. So now what can you do about job-related stress?
It reduces testosterone levels.
Yes. And it will increase the levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So how would you control job stress?
You can do some pranayama exercises.
Sorry?
While returning home, you do some pranayama exercises. Take bath, fresh bath, you will refresh your body.
No, that is for physical stress.
Physical.
But how will you handle job-related stress? We are talking about job-related stress. See, I'll tell you something. Stress can be of very many kinds. There could be a relationship stress, there could be a job stress, there could be social stress, there could be environmental stress, and there could be n number of stresses. So specifically, we are talking about overwork syndromes that is related to your work. So how will you handle job stress? Who will tell you? One of the ways of handling job stress would be proper time management. You have to manage how you do your work in office at the same time. Now today what is happening, especially in multinational companies, because a lot of downsizing is happening place. If you don't perform, if you don't give results, you are thrown out. That is the reason why some of the people, instead of working for, earlier they used to work for 40 hours a week, now it's become 55, 60 hours a week. Even the manager is always telling them, okay, you have to perform, you have to perform, you have to perform. So because of that reason, there is a lot of overwork. People are taking work to their homes also. And one of the ways in which you can manage job-related stress is time management. That is one of them. Second thing what you can do is delegate your jobs. Job delegation. If I'm the manager and I'm too stressed and I think all my subordinates are very dull and stupid, I should do everything myself. The moment I think like that, I'm going to stress myself. So I should know how to delegate. And finally, two more things which we have to understand, that if you really have a boss who is really no good, and if you think that he is trying to stop all your chances of promotion, you have to sincerely think whether it is wise to stay in that job, get stressed, or to quit and find out another job. Sometimes what happens, we are so afraid of taking a risk that we stick to a bad situation and we don't tend to come out of it. And I'll tell you something, most of these people who are creative, they are the ones who are taking the maximum amount of risk. There are so many filmmakers who are earlier, an engineer or a chartered accountant and so, and they all became filmmakers. How did they do that? Because they decided that the place where they were working was not conducive for them. They took their risks. Some of them were single, some of them were married. But probably they had a lot of understanding partners and they were able to make that shift. Okay? So for job-related stress, there is no other way out except to do these. Otherwise, you will be stuck into the job and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Okay. The next would be fatigue or tiredness. What can you do about fatigue or tiredness? Suppose you return home. Okay, you've returned after a busy day, you've returned home at work. You've reached your home around 8 o'clock. And your partner is feeling very randy. She wants to have sex, but you are too tired. Right? And this has been going on for the whole week. not for the whole week, for days together it's been going on, and she is getting irritated now. So what is one simple solution you can do so as you also feel fine and your wife also feels fine or your partner feels fine? What can you do? Can anybody suggest? See, because it's okay to refuse your partner sex for 1, 2 or 3, 4 days, but then if it's happening on and on, it creates a lot of irritation. Right? So how would you handle such a situation? Like you're
Consolation
always
is
tired after work.
taking consolation of this,
Sir?
doctor's consolation in this.
Okay, what else can we do before consulting a doctor? See, what you can do is a very simple thing. You're very tired. Suppose you've returned home at around 8 to 8:30. You should have your meal, and then, like normally if it's 9 o'clock you're about to make love, or maybe at 9:30 you're about to make love, set an alarm for 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Go off to sleep at 9 o'clock, sleep for 1 or 2 hours, set an alarm for 11 o'clock, get up, have sex, and then go off to sleep. Okay? So that way, you're taking care of your body and you're taking care of the sexual needs of yourself as well as your partner. So these are the things we have to, these very simple things mean a lot. Rather than irritating your partner and making her sexually frustrated, this is something which we can make small adjustment in the timetable. Okay, now any questions about overwork syndrome or anything about stress?
No, relationship stress income.
Sorry?
Relationship stress.
Okay, when we talk about relationship stress, I'll tell you something. One thing which is very, very important, like, a husband comes back from home and the wife is waiting for him, and she's waiting that he comes back and he talks to her. And this man comes home, he washes himself and sits opposite the television. And she wants to talk and he has no time for her, but he has time for the television. Now, communication, like if a woman feels that she is being neglected, she will always try to avoid having sex with you. Even if she would not participate wholeheartedly. So the best aphrodisiac for a woman would be to talk to her on a regular basis. At least for 1 hour in a day, a husband should talk with his wife, whether he wants it or not, but he should do, because communicating for a woman is very, very important. You don't have to necessarily bring roses for her, get chocolates for her, or buy things for her. Probably one of the most important things which men forget is talking with her. And it may be like very simple things like, how did your day go? Whom did you meet? What happened? That is the way women try to connect with the men. With men, it would not be very important. Whether the wife has had a fight with her boss or she's not had a fight, it doesn't really matter much to the man, but it definitely matters to the woman, because that is how she forms a bond with the man. So probably that way you can reduce the relationship stress. Another way you can reduce the relationship stress is like, if you are having a lot of conflicts which you yourself cannot solve, you need to go to a marriage counselor. You need to go to a marriage counselor and sort your problems out. Only then will sexual desire return. Otherwise, it will not. Okay? Okay. Now we go on to the next aspect of lifestyle issue, which is food. Food. Right? Food. Now, few things which we need to remember. How food will affect your sexuality. You need to have food from each of the 5 classes of food. Vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, and the rest, right? All 5 of them. Water and etc. All should be there in different quantities, but they should all be there. And you would focus on vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. When we talk about sexual desire, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. And one of the best things you can do for vitamins is probably take a lot of oranges. Eat a lot of oranges or orange juice. Okay. Now some of the foods which you can eat. There is actually a whole list of foods which can be considered as an aphrodisiac. But we have to also remember that some of the people may be vegetarian, some may be non-vegetarian. So if I make suggestions like have an oyster or have particular kind of chicken and all, they would not make much sense. So I've just included few just 7 of them actually. Foods which everybody should eat. One would be bananas. bananas. Second would be strawberries.
Either juice or fruit.
Yes, these are aphrodisiacal foods and they are really good for your sexual health. Then even figs. F-I-G-S, figs.
Figs, fresh or the dry.
Sorry? Anything would do.
In bananas there are many types, green, yellow. I was reading the red colors are the very...
They are also good. South Indians, they eat red bananas. South Indians.
Very expensive.
Yeah. See, even that factor we need to understand. That these foods, some of them may be cheap, but some of them are also expensive.
And what about the chips forms that is a wafers, banana wafers available?
Banana wafers, because they go through some kind of processing, I would not
So destroying
advise.
that so.
Rather have the raw fruit.
The figs are available every store.
Sorry?
Figs is available.
Figs are, it's uncheap. Figs is uncheap. And the best part of the whole thing is like if you've seen a green colored fig, just try to cut it lengthwise and just see what it looks like, a fig. See why people call it a fig, it's because of this. Okay, but I'm not able to get it. See, a fig is basically when you cut it lengthwise and you just try to see through, it resembles a female vagina. That is why most of the foods which we associate as aphrodisiacs is because in some way or the other they either resemble the male sexual anatomy or the female sexual anatomy. If you look at a strawberry, if you cut it lengthwise, it will look somewhat like a heart.
Horizontally.
Even the akhrout,
Yes.
this looks like a brain.
Yes.
So even the wheat is very good for...
Yes. And most of these foods, like a banana, it looks like a male penis, right?
Yeah.
So people have associated it with an aphrodisiac. Of course, it has also certain qualities like. But the main reason, or even you like a rhinoceros's horn, so that looks like a male penis. So people thought that it is an aphrodisiac. Some of them are medically proved, some of them are not. But these are definitely medically proved. Then you also have something known as a pineapple. You can have pineapple.
Pineapple also not?
Yes, it also works as an aphrodisiac.
But heat will produce. You take more means heat, body heat will produce.
Sorry?
No. Pineapple take more, body will be heat.
No. That's a fallacy. Nothing happens. These are all very natural foods. Nothing will happen. Okay. Then you can take almonds. Almonds are expensive, I know, but whoever can afford them, that is good. Almonds, carrots, and you can have honey also. Honey is also an aphrodisiac. If you've read this Kama Sutra, so many recipes which they have mentioned, they will always tell you to add some honey. Now why? Because probably they have discovered that it was an aphrodisiac then, even it is. The list could be endless, but I've just
What is the
mentioned.
ingredient that makes it an aphrodisiac?
Sorry?
What is the ingredient that makes it an aphrodisiac?
In honey?
No, in any of these.
Okay, I'll just give you an example. See, for strawberry would contain vitamins. And then almonds would contain amino acids. So these are some of the elements which are making it as an aphrodisiac. Carrots again would have vitamins.
Then people also talk about almonds, you put it in the water for...
Yes, soak it overnight and have it.
How does it help?
Sorry?
How does it help?
No, same as it is amino acids. So it will improve the sexual functioning. So all these things when you are doing is basically what are you eating? Vitamins and minerals, nothing else. Even the medications which people give you are some form of restoring the vitamins and minerals in your body. Any kind of medications which you are taking. So rather than spending money on the medications, why not to eat these natural foods? Okay, any questions about food and
Now
What
see, I
about
mean, now see,
onion and garlic? Are they good for...
garlic onion is a stimulating, no? That's encouraging.
see, there's nothing like good and bad. There are certain religions like Jainism.
No, Jainism
What they
is-
say that like garlic, basically it disturbs the mind. Concentration ability is lost. Onion and garlic are considered to be aphrodisiacs. But more than aphrodisiacs, it is good for the heart. Garlic is good for the heart. So sexual properties they will not have, but garlic is good for the heart. Especially to lower cholesterol, garlic is used.
What about the meat and those?
No, meat and all is fine. They don't have any such sexual properties, but meat for
But see,
protein and other things are fine.
oysters and no oysters, that's
Yes, oyster is definitely an aphrodisiac.
Zinc production, yeah.
Yes, oyster is. Oyster, then even something known as an asparagus, which is not very widely available over here. But oysters are really expensive.
Yeah, no, it's very rare.
And then we don't have actually aphrodisiacal, the concept of aphrodisiacal dinners over here, nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
But then there are aphrodisiacal dinners which are available in different parts of the world. They are not available in our country, where there are special restaurants where you can order an aphrodisiacal dinner and they will, I would not say guarantee you, but it will create some kind of sexual desire in you if you have it. Provided the other mood is set, like you love your partner and all your senses are aroused, it will definitely be a spicy, a topping to the cake, I would say.
This asparagus is sold under what name?
Sorry?
Asparagus is sold under what?
Asparagus is it's a kind of food.
Plant. Huh?
It's a kind of food, it's a kind of shoot. You have to say asparagus. You get asparagus soup, you get asparagus in other varieties also. See, if you get it in some store in Bandra, you might get. Some food store in Bandra, they do sell asparagus. And some probably organic stores will sell it. You have to say asparagus, it's a green colored shoot. Okay, now coming to the last part is caffeine dependency. Caffeine, coffee would have it, cold drinks would have it, and even tea would have it. Now how would caffeine dependency alter your sexual desire? Now again, single cup of coffee would give you more energy and stamina. Just a single cup, not more than that. Now what would happen if you have too much of caffeine? It would lead to overstimulation of the adrenal glands. When you have more than 2 cups, it will lead to overstimulation of adrenal glands, flooding the body with stress hormones. More stress hormones will be released and they can cause a decrease in your libido. And that is one of the reasons why sometimes people when they are very stressed, they have lots of tea and coffee to reduce their stress. But on the contrary, what is it doing? It is actually increasing your stress. Got the point? Sometimes people are very worried, so they will have lots and lots of tea and coffee. They will avoid eating anything, they will have lots of tea and coffee. So more stress is being created rather than reducing the stress. So look at the number of misconceptions which we have. So to sum up the whole thing, again I would just say that when we talk about lifestyle issues and diminished sexual desire, it would be alcohol dependency, it would be poor body image, it would be sleep deprivation, overwork syndrome, poor eating habits, poor nutritional balance that we've already spoken, and caffeine dependency. So once you take care of these things, like if you have a sexual problem, once you take care of these things, you will be told, if he is really a trained sexologist or a sex therapist, he or she will definitely tell you that you need to alter your lifestyle. If you think that just by taking medication and not taking care of these things, you will not see very many positive changes. And sometimes, believe me, if you are taking alcohol and if you are taking antidepressants, if it becomes a fatal combination, you can really end up in big trouble. So with certain drugs, you have to make sure that you don't take any alcohol. Otherwise, the dose may be very, very fatal. It can put you into big trouble.
What all? Alcohol and what?
Alcohol and some antidepressant medicine. Or there are certain classes of medicines which will not go with alcohol. So if you are taking those medications, you cannot take alcohol. Not even one class. In any case, the moment you have a sexual problem, your doctor will definitely tell you to stop your cigarettes and stop your alcohol. Because if on one hand you are taking medications and cigarette and alcohol is going on, you don't see any cure in the future. So if you don't do it now, later on you will be forced to do it.
See, one medicines, they are not tranquilizer. Tranquilizer, no?
Yes.
Antidepressant.
Sorry?
Antidepressant, that's it.
No. Tranquilizers were something which would put you off to sleep.
Okay.
And antidepressants are something which will help you to cure your
Getting relief,
depression.
nobody from getting relief from it, no?
Yeah. But it's always advisable that you take homeopathic antidepressants rather than allopathic one. always advisable to take either Ayurvedic unless until you have a very severe depression where you need to go to a clinic and get yourself admitted. But otherwise, always advisable would definitely be homeopathic or Ayurvedic antidepressant. They don't have side effects, which these medications do.
And what type of exercise, if you found less sleep, you told before sleep, before 3 hours, you need to do what type of exercise?
See, what you can do is, even if you walk every day for half an hour, if you cannot do any other exercise, just walk for half an hour.
Morning off, now orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Jogging also.
Yeah. Jogging, but see, jogging you will have to jog in a proper place. Either go to a proper jogging path. You cannot jog on the road because
Okay.
the roads are made with a certain material,
Okay.
and your feet will hurt if you do that. So that's not the right place. Otherwise, what you can do is, like, if you really don't have time to move out of your house, you can go for yoga. Call a yoga teacher for a month, learn the yogic exercises. There are so many of them. He will teach you simple postures depending upon your age and requirement. You can do that. And otherwise, if you are really comfortable, go to a gym. So any of these will do. You can even go for swimming. But some form of exercise is required for each and every human, male or female. It's very important.